Hello, everyone. This is the Paint the Town Red podcast, and today we have another special guest. It's Jeb Baugh. Jeb Baugh, I first seen on Instagram when he went against the legendary Glenn Beck, and he questioned him on his alliance to Israel, even asking him, was it you the one that asked him if he's Israel or America first, and he couldn't answer?
No, that was someone in the crowd. I didn't know
Oh,
who that
okay.
was.
I
Yeah.
couldn't tell because you asked him the question and then somebody else screamed that from the side.
Yeah.
So it was an ordeal. But I'll let him describe what happened, the situation leading up to it, all that. But you want to introduce? Oh, follow him on Instagram, Jeb Baugh. It's GEB.BAUGH. So make sure you give him a follow
J.
on Instagram.
J-E-B.
J, not G. Oh, it's J.
Yeah, Jeb. J-E-B.
Yeah, JEB. Right. Okay. I don't know. Did I say G?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Sorry. All right. So go ahead, Jeb. Introduce yourself.
So my name's Jeb Baugh. I'm a student here at the University of North Dakota. I grew up in Texas. I am at the University of North Dakota here for aviation. I've always been enjoyed philosophy, politics, all that. I really got into politics once Trump ran in 2016. Me and my dad would discuss politics, so to speak. And I saw Trump as a very much America first, populist for the American workers. He talked about bringing manufacturing jobs back to the U.S., rebuilding the Rust Belt, stuff that real Americans need and real American workers want. The issues that get votes, such as, guns and abortion and gay rights, stuff like that. I think my my political views have been shaped where I've lived throughout my life. I'm originally from North Dakota. So the culture of North Dakota is very much different. It's a very high trust society here in North Dakota compared to the South. South, there's a lot more diversity and it creates kind of a lower trust society among people. And people don't work as hard down there. But I mean, I like the South. I like living in Texas, and it made me the person who I am today.
All right. So a little bit about yourself. You come from a predominantly white area and you're moving to a non-predominantly white area. And that has caused you to go down certain lines of thinking. What would you say is the demographic of where you're at now?
Demographic, Grand Forks, North Dakota. I would say it's predominantly, I'd probably say 90% white,
90% white. Okay, and then where you were at in the South, what would you say that demographic is?
probably about 40%.
40%. Okay, so actually on the lower side. What have you noticed with the society's difference? Okay, yeah, what have you noticed? Like this off the cuff.
Okay.
What have you noticed? What are the
Well,
differences between the places?
for example, in North Dakota, I'm not too much worried about locking my car. This society's rare. There's buses. I mean, there's public sidewalks. People can walk around. Obviously not as much crime. Down south, it's a lot more. You always got to be vigilant. Texarkana is one of the most dangerous cities in Texas. I don't know if you guys knew that. I mean, people break into cars in broad daylight, stuff like that. And it's not just black people. There's white people that do a lot of bad stuff down south too. I think up here in the north, it's predominantly Scandinavian, German descent. Down south, it's more Scots-Irish and English,
Dirty
which,
Irish.
well, I myself am part Irish from my dad. So
God.
my dad's from Texas. So, but I definitely like North Dakota a lot better. Besides, it being cold.
Nice. Cool. So you said that your parents or some of your family members actually vote blue. Would you say that being in an area that's like so nice and clean kind of got them to kind of be okay with voting for people that are on the blue side?
It did. It kind of creates a sense of like things are so good, so they aren't worried about trying to protect what they already have because things are already so good. It's like how empires build. I don't know what the word is. I don't want to say contemptness. It might be contemptness, but like like how Rome fell because it was so good and people just kind of grew. I don't know the word,
Not
but you know
based
what I'm
in
talking.
reality. I mean,
Yeah, based in
like we
reality.
would love immigrants to come enrich our culture here. I
Yeah,
mean,
because
look
they
how
just
things are so nice. Let's add them to this. Yeah.
Yeah. They don't really understand that they need to protect what they have and how good that they have it. And we're seeing that across America. But yeah, my grandparents, I loved them to death, don't get me wrong, but they're more Democrat leaning. And it makes I question them a lot. And we talk about it a lot, but they're still my grandparents and I love them, of course. But
Yeah.
their views are definitely, our tolerance will be the death of us, our death of our civilizations. That's what I
Yep.
like to say.
They say there's an old saying, and the older people love this saying, so I love to snap it right back at them. They say, good men create or no, so they say, hard men create good times create weak men, and then weak men create bad times, and the cycle continues.
Mm.
They're the good times,
Mhm.
They were in the
Yeah.
good times. That's why they think the way they think. They're like,
Mhm.
race doesn't matter. We're going to all just be one we're all gonna look like Mexicans here soon. So, who cares, right? Who cares? I'll tell you who cares. The Democrats care, the black people care, the Jews really care, obviously. Every other person on earth that's of any tribe racially at all cares very deeply. The only tribe that doesn't care, the only race, is white people. And now we're going extinct. Thank you, Grandma. Thank you, Grandpa. But no, we need to definitely take the the helm of the ship and start steering it away from the rocks now. So, okay, let's get into this. Let's get it right into the instance that you had with the old fart Glenn Beck. Go ahead. Take us what happened.
Okay, so Glenn Beck does his he's talking about stuff forever. He talks about some really weird stuff. He was like, "We are all children of Zion," or something really weird, and I didn't really understand it. And I talked to some other people, they don't understand it either. It's something very bizarre. I mean, he's Mormon. What do you expect? But I went up there and I was second or third in line. And the first kid asked about like Mormonism or something like that. And the lady was like, "What's your question about?" And I was like, "Oh, well, I really like Glenn's point because he had like 9 points of what he was talking about. I don't know if you saw the whole speech. 1 points of question everything." I was like, I really like Glenn Beck's point on question everything. And I was like, I have a deep concern that a lot of America's youth are questioning our relationship with Israel, and it's very concerning to our values as a country. So I lied my way into asking the question.
Yeah.
And then Glenn didn't let me finish the question. I really wish he'd let me finish the question. It was a long question, don't get me wrong. But I was pretty much asking him, "Hey, Glenn, why is Israel doing all this shitty stuff to us? Basically, sell me why they're still our greatest ally, even though they're doing all this bad stuff to us." And he really didn't explain it. He just started talking about radical Islam, like all the
They're the
other
chosen
neocons do.
ones.
Yeah, like all the other neocons do, even though radical Islam wouldn't be an issue whatsoever if we didn't go into these countries and blow up their homes. I mean, it's pretty simple.
Right? It's like maybe they hate us because we keep
Eh,
bombing the hell out of them. I don't know. That's funny. So tell us. Oh, so you asked that question. He rambled on with some bullcrap, and you guys follow Jeb online. Watch the instance. He does a bunch of funny posts about the instance too, because it is really funny. But I think a lot of us have a lot in common with you, Jeb. We have family members who are old. Maybe they're Democrat, maybe they're Republican, but they all are just very blind to the big question, which is,
mhm.
let's take it from this because they always like the narrative or the headlines that the big medias push, right? They'll never listen to like an independent news source or like an actual journalist of any kind that's not being paid by billionaires. They only listen to the
Yeah.
billionaires' kids. So, how about this? Look at what Fox News and CNN is talking about China right now. China just put out a headline saying that they're not going to attack the West. They don't have to because the West is going to fall. And the reason it's going to fall is not because the Democrats or the Republicans are too radical. No, it's not because of that. The reason it's going to fall is because of radical demographic change. That's what the Chinese people say.
Don't
Why
doubt
would they
it.
say that? Why would they make that grand calculation? We know Asians are good at math.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
we should listen to them, and that should make you really fearful about who's in control of our nation and why they're deciding to flood our nation with a bunch of non-white people on purpose.
I don't know why we're trying to destroy the society we've created. I mean, we should look at the things that have built up our society in the first place and replicate them, the things that have made us stronger and prevail. I mean, the Chinese are 100% right. There's too much. Our tolerance is going to be the death of us. Our tolerance is going to be the death of our society. If we keep letting all these people into our countries that have no cultural similarities to our values and our culture, it's truly going to be the death of us. And right wing politicians in England and Germany will be like, "Oh yeah, we need to kick out these immigrants," but they'll still let legal migration in. They still support Israel, which that's the main factor in why these countries are groups of people that are coming from these countries. Their countries have been torn apart. There is no more home for them because we have supplied this country and we have done it ourselves, blowing up those countries these refugees are coming from. And it's terrible. It's terrible. And our politicians are bought out by APAC, which is like Republican or Democrat. We are directly supporting a refugee crisis into these Western countries. It's pathetic.
Yeah. And you could go down the line of every single, because they make money. Any move our nation makes, they make money. They're the toll man in every single aspect of our society. So if there's mass immigration, if we're going to war, if we're doing anything, if we're fixing our welfare state, whatever we're doing, they're the ones who make the money. So they always fuel the fire in every instance. They make problems 10 times bigger than they actually are so they can make 10 times their money. Okay? It's not a conspiracy. It's very simple to understand. And there's many rabbit holes you can go down. And one of the rabbit holes I see often people making about that, they want to flood our nation with non-white people because they want to erase the white race. Well, that may be true. Well, but you won't even have to ask. It may be true. It's that it's happening, right? It doesn't matter if like they're doing it
Yeah.
with intent or with they're not doing it with intent. The fact of the matter is that it is happening. The population, the birth rates of the white populations around the entire world are going down. We are at non-replacement level. We're going extinct. And you say, well, who cares? So people with blonde hair and blue eyes won't exist in a few years. Who cares? Okay, fine. If that's your belief, that's fine. But if I have the belief that I'm saying, hey, no, I don't want blonde hair, blue eyed people to go extinct, really, then you oust us from society. That's the problem we have. Whereas if you're black or you're brown and you say, hey, I want to preserve black culture, I want to preserve brown culture, hand clap, let's get this guy a gold medal and send him to the front of the line. I mean,
Mhm.
it's they're betraying our own people and it's disgusting and I can't stand it. It's hard to even talk to them about these things, but so
I have a good metaphor. I saw this the other day because this white girl was like, "Oh, I don't care if white people go extinct. What's wrong with that?" Okay, like imagine if you said it for anything else. So you say you have, blue, green, orange, and red parrots, and you're like, "I don't care if the red parrots go extinct. Who cares if there's red parrots?" You know what I mean? That it's kind of the same thing. But you're like, "Oh yeah, I love the green and blue parrots, but yeah, who cares if the red parrots go extinct?" I mean, like it doesn't make sense. It's like these leftists. They don't use facts at all. They are very emotional, and one thing about the left, they always think they're fighting the establishment, but they are the establishment. They are the status quo. They are the narrative that the media and the elites are pushing.
yeah, that's the funny thing too, is they sit there and they go, people will say, you know what? These views, it's like that's what they want you to be racist. They actually, that's what they're doing. The media, they're pinning blacks and whites against each other. They're wanting you to be racist. It's like, well, maybe they are. I mean, maybe they are, over exacerbating race wars and stuff like this. Maybe they are, but they're definitely not trying to get white people to wake up. Like they're not doing that. Nowhere in any circle in the mainstream is it okay to be proud to be white right now. Not one. So, no. The rich people, the billionaires, they want to be actively anti white on both Republican and Democrat side. The Republicans will say, well, we just don't care about race. The Democrats will say, no, 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 we want to extinguish whiteness, literally, is their latest campaign. So it's just a betrayal from all sides. This generation, we have to stand up and do something about it. And that's why we were speaking earlier about Nick Fuentes and how he kind of talks a lot. But we need the action to come behind it. And so it's going to take people like you standing up and saying stuff. You went out there, you put your face, you put your name, everything on the line, and you stood up against Glenn Beck. That's what we need to start doing. That's the biggest way we can start pushing back against this narrative of extinguishing whiteness. I had one guy explain it to me. It's kind of like a knot, right? And that's what he tried to say. He's like, racism is like a knot. It's like there's the black people and the white people. And then what happens is each of them pull. And guess what it does? It just makes the knot tighter. So we got to stop pulling. And I'm like, well, that's a good point. The only problem is, though, is that one side is pulling and then our side is saying, oh, no, I don't want to tighten the knot. So then they're just letting them have the rope. They're just giving up on the game. They're saying, okay, take everything. Please invade our nation. You can have whatever you want, DEI, whatever, everything you want. Doesn't matter. And that's not the way to handle it either. Maybe we should talk to both sides and say, hey, look, we'll let you guys have Florida and Georgia. You guys can do your own thing.
Well, I think us as conservatives, we also need to focus on the root issue of why are these people coming to the West? Why are they coming to the West? And it's because we're going to their countries and we're blowing up. They don't have a home anymore. I mean, they weren't coming to our countries, 100 years ago because they had homes of their own. But now it's like, well, we'll pay you to come over and your home is gone. Why would you not come over? You know what I mean?
And then you're
I
going to
mean,
despise us in our own nation. No, you're exactly right. It's a breeding
yeah.
ground for stupidity for people that are enemies to be in our own nation. That's a good angle. You're right about that. We shouldn't, we could say
We
he's
shouldn't blame
talking
the
for.
people we shouldn't blame these refugees necessarily, because in their head, I mean, they're still people and they want a better life. We need to blame the root issue of why are they coming over Why do they wanna come over? Stuff like that.
Only a sweet white boy from North Dakota would come up with an answer like that. So, no, that's a good point, though. You're exactly right. We have to be based in biblical principles. And it's like, people always saying, like, how can you be Christian and be racist at the same time? It's like, first of all, I'm not racist. I don't hate any groups. All I'm bringing up, I'm just bringing to everyone's attention that, like, this nation was a white nation, always been a white nation. And now it's like not, and it's going drastically in the other direction. I'm a little worried about that. That's
Yeah,
all
and
I'm
I
saying.
and,
And
like,
non-Christian too. It's not like it's just
yeah,
white. No, it's
yeah.
like, no, we're becoming less Christian as well. Like, that's a little
And
concerning.
this isn't just in America, it's really bad in Europe, but Canada's pretty much gone. Canada's not the same Canada I went to when I was, like 10 years ago when I was younger. It isn't the same Canada. You go to any town in Canada, like, at least half of it's just Indians.
Yeah, and if you're
It's
Indian or you're, like, Muslim and you've somehow
mm,
watched this show, which I don't know how, but maybe you do. I just wanna tell you something. It's like, look, here's what I'm arguing. I'm telling you that I would like America to switch its policy from instead ripping the youth out of your nation, out of these nations, and bringing them to our nation to work for slave labor, to be second-class citizens, to be ousted almost by society entirely, and then we get mad at them and they get mad at us, and it's a bad situation. Instead of doing that, why wouldn't, instead of, slave literally making you slaves, why don't we help your nation in a good faith way so that way you can be our partners? We want to build partners. That's what we want to do.
mhm.
And the method, the ways that we're doing things now by just ripping the youth out, that's not building partners. That's just ruining both nations. That's literally what
Yeah,
it's doing. It's watering both
at the
nations down.
benefit at and only the benefit of multinational corporations. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the only benefit of it.
The globalist community. And that's what gets into the
Yeah.
next point. It's like, well, who's behind all of this? And we're not going to say exactly who, but we all know who. And that's a good point. It's like, and that's what Trump's doing with the tariffs. It's really funny to see Trump make these moves with the tariffs. And then the conservatives are the ones who come out and say, we don't like these moves with the tariffs. We want a free market. We're
Yeah,
for a free
I
market.
just made a video how the free market destroyed the middle class.
Yeah. And it's like, well, yeah, we do want a certain amount of free market, like within our own nation, but like the world doesn't care you're about your free market. They don't care.
Mm,
China's gonna back one company and they're gonna destroy all of our free market
yeah,
companies within a blink of an eye, and we're all gonna be without jobs and they're gonna destroy us and run us over like nothing. Like there
but
has to be some type of
maybe we could have some cheaper toys and cheaper clothes, you know what I mean?
yeah. It goes back to like, look, we gotta take the good from each thing. It's like
Uh-huh.
socialism, not the best, but there is some good in it. That's why our fire department, our police department is socialist. Free market, great. It drives competition within certain things. It makes innovation happen. Oh, great, let's take it, let's do it. And China does the same thing. They have a certain amount of free market in their country. But also, like, we didn't go to the moon because some guy was like, I think I can make money on going to the moon. Let me start a business in my garage. Like, that didn't happen. The state got behind the NASA and funded a giant move to go to the moon. Pretty much everything big that happens, nations get behind it in this. It's funded
Nations
by
and
the state,
people who have, conspiring same ideas, yeah.
which are backed in turn by the free market. I will say that, it is the way we're wealthy in the first place is because of the free market. We were able to afford a feat like that, of course. So there's not nothing to free market. That's another thing too, is people will just say, like, you say something bad about free market, it's like, oh my God, you're a
God, you're a
socialist
communist, yeah.
communist. And then you say something bad about socialism, they're like, oh my God, you're a free market moron. It's like, okay.
You can't be in the middle. You can't take good aspects of each one.
Yep. And I think that's the same thing with our immigration policy. It's like you can't be against illegal immigration without people calling you racist, especially if you're white like us. But it's like, no, we can be reasonably against a certain amount of immigration. It's not good for our sovereignty. It's not good for the native born people. What if instead of fixing our population decrease by invading our own lands with other people that we don't like or that no one likes really, and that we think smell, why don't we, instead of doing that, help the native birth rate? Stop aborting our own children. We already have the people. We just got to stop killing them. And then
Stop killing them, yeah.
on top of that, maybe help the moms stay in the home by fixing our economic system, our healthcare system. These are things that the right have always been like, we don't want to, no, we want our healthcare system to be free market. Well, yeah, we do. But like right now, okay, for instance, my wife, she works and almost like literally she has a job and like a lot of her check goes to just our healthcare alone. Like she almost
Really.
works for just healthcare alone, like literally.
Yeah.
And that's why she has a job in that way because it's like we need healthcare and it's like they have good benefits, they have a plan, and now but like a lot of her paycheck to afford it, it's so much. A normal person that didn't have somebody, two people in the household wouldn't be able to even do that. So it's terrible. And then they want to get illegal immigrants Cadillac care.
It used to be, you could come out of high school and get a well-paying job, and you could afford a family and have a house and a car, and, I mean, that's just how it used to be, but now it's like both parents have to go to college. I mean, I guess you could go to the trades, but that's not for everyone, and you could have a house and you gotta have 2 parents, go to college, get in debt, just to maybe own a house by the age of 40,
Yeah.
and Republicans aren't really talking about that.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
can't afford healthcare, you can't barely afford a house, even a house is really hard to buy. You can't afford anything today. I mean, you can do it, yeah, it's possible, but for the mass population of people, it's hard, and it's not reasonable. They sold this lie about going to college and everything's gonna work out, and it's just not true. And then another lie that's really bad is that it's kinda jumping really into the far into the weeds, but just bear with me for 1 second. There like we talked about, if you say one thing that's bad about the other side, they'll automatically assume you're a communist. And it goes the other way too. If you say something good about like what, for instance, Hitler did in history, automatically, oh my God, you're a Nazi. But it's like, wait, hold on. Let's look at one policy that he did that was actually good. Giving a loan to newly married couples that were having kids, and then he would have the loans get paid off by the children. So if you had one child, it would pay off 25%. If you had four children, it would pay off the loan entirely. And this loan would allow them to buy a home. If women didn't want to have kids, or they only had one kid, they would pay the rest off normally at a reasonable interest rate. Why? Society lives on the birth of the children. It's the lifeblood of the nation. That's what makes the nation good. And so it's heavily incentivized. We should be incentivizing people to have kids, but instead we don't. And then, like I said, we invade our country with other people to make the 1% billionaires wealthy. So that's a policy that I think everyone could get behind. I don't know of anyone who would say that would be a bad policy. Even the Democrats, because the Democrats are constantly complaining about the 1% and the money going to the rich and not the middle class and all this stuff. Well, that would solve it. Women would be able to stay at home with the kids. The fathers would be able to go out to work, or vice versa, whatever you guys want to work out within your family. Not my thing. I would want the man to go out and work and the female to stay home with the kids. I think that's worked out in history, at least for the majority of our evolution as humans, but that's my opinion. And that we could do that. And that would be something that no politician will ever introduce ever, because it was someone else's idea a long time ago that we do not like.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think that'd be I think we could have maternity leave. I think we could have a lot of things, a lot of social programs, if we put our money to right use. We don't I mean, our money is not going to the people that are actually paying these taxes. It's going to people who are a negative on the tax system and to foreign interest, and you know what I mean? Our taxes aren't working. It's not working to the American people. I mean, that's
Yeah.
a universal problem. Democrats and Republicans realize that.
Yeah. Would you say your parents that are Democrats, would you say their number one problem, or the number one thing they want to solve, is like that the 1% of the nation has 50% of the wealth disparity? Would you say that's probably their number one
No, I think a lot of the ideology of, Democrats, especially older ones, is about just helping people. And it's like, well, you want to help people, but at the cost of the things that have made this country great and your own people. That's what I noticed. And I think that's what's theirs is.
Okay, so they have their empathy.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
empathy.
because I've been trying to, like, have conversations with the left, and I think we agree on that one thing, which is, like, look, it's not good that the wealthiest people have 50% of the wealth, and it's
Mhm,
totally bad. The 1% of the 1% is, like, extremely wealthy compared to the rest,
mhm.
and it goes to show, like, the middle class is just completely wiped out. Now especially, and it keeps getting worse and worse
Yeah,
every year.
it's good.
Yeah, even done under Trump, even no matter what president it is, it gets worse and worse. And so the left and the right agree on that. We just have to figure out a way to stop fighting when it comes to like every other aspect. Like we spend our time fighting about like transgenders in schools, when maybe we should start shifting. And I know it's hard for me to even say that, because I'm on the right, right? It's hard for me not to bring up this racial issue. I want to bring it up every second because it saddens me. I mean, think about it. We're going extinct. Like we're dying. I mean, what's cool about that?
I mean, but I think if we fix these issues, it's like a trickle effect. Like things such as like the lower birth rate, the average age of marriage is like 29. Houses, everything's a trickle effect. If we can get people jobs and our communities right, it will all kind of trickle down and fix itself. I don't know. Do you feel the same way? I
Yeah,
think we need to
no, I
stop
do.
focus on these little issues and trying to fix individual issues, fix big issues that society has fell short of in the past few years. And the smaller issues will just kind of funnel and fix themselves.
I think you're onto something with that. It's like if we get back in control of our nation, I think a lot of these problems will fix themselves.
Mhm.
You're right about that, no doubt about it. We classify it as the what to say, the juice box emoji people, and they classify it as the 1% or the most wealthiest people. Whatever you wanna classify, whatever you wanna call 'em, you know?
Zionists, I mean, yeah, we all have names for 'em.
Yeah. I'd call them BlackRock and Larry Fink is who I'd call them, but that's just me. So yeah, we need to definitely push for that. I think that is a good point though. If we do that, a lot of the other issues will just kinda solve themselves. Like, we'd be like a little North Dakota, right?
Yeah, the whole country could be like North Dakota, that's how I see it. I
Would
like to say that
agree.
North Dakota is a high trust society. I've told my friends this. Do you know about, like, the high trust, low trust society?
Yes.
Like, if there's more cultural
Mhm,
similarities, it creates a more high trust society,
mhm.
and that's how our country used to be. I mean, really.
I live in Oildale, okay? People know where Oildale is that listen to my show most of the time, but it's like I said, it's a poor white community in California, in the middle of California, and there's crime. Like there's crime, well, there's drug use and there's like it's kind of ghetto. It's like poor white. But it's a high trust still.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know what you mean. I In the South, it's really bad. There's a lot of white trash, people on meth and trailer homes. I mean, I'm not hating on those type of people, but yeah, it's those are like low trust too. I mean, they'll steal. I even
Well,
had a
that's what I was just describing. Actually, in my neighborhood though, like I said, I live on kind of the little bit of the nicer side, the middle class, just middle class, 3-bedroom homes, that type size. And we live there's Delians, but it's mostly trustworthy though still. Like I don't worry. I could walk outside, walk down the street like at any time in the night, or I can even leave my car unlocked, literally. And we're in Oildale, and it's just high trust. Whereas if you go to areas a little more south, then they're just as ghetto, but they'll rob you. Like they'll literally point a gun at you and like kill you or beat your butt. You know what I mean? It's just like so. I see what you're saying about high trust, low trust. I just wonder though. People always say like, well, no, 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 no. It's not about racial. It's just about poverty. But I don't know. I don't know.
yeah,
I
I
think
don't
there's
know.
some poor
Yeah,
areas that are high trust. I'll be honest with you. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, 100%.
I don't know if it's race. And maybe it is. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But I mean, wow. It seems like it, right?
No,
I mean, I don't maybe that's a bad way to put it.
and I mean, I think it's just people of. I mean, like if you have an area of
Culture.
all Indians, they're probably gonna be likely to trust, they're gonna trust the Indian more than the white person. If you have an area of all white people, they're gonna trust, you know what I mean? It's like families. It's like you're in your family. You can have, it work out. You trust your brother and sister. You all kind of work together, work for the household. And that doesn't necessarily mean you want to harm another family just because you want to put, help your family first and your family's you love your family the most.
Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah, that's a great way to point it. It's not about race, but it is about, like, when there's different tribes all in one area, there tends to be more crime because they feel that you're other, right? And rather you wanna say, "Well, no, it's because society depicts us as other." Okay, rather you wanna depict it as a
That
society doing
that's
it.
like that's like a socially engineered concept. That's like
Mhm,
a very Marxist, socially engineered, not natural concept. Like,
mhm.
oh well, you know what I mean? Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Well, is it unnatural though? I think it is natural. Like we are like there's scientific facts that like people that are far away from you genetically, you find them less attractive. We always hear the tropes about like people smell. This is like, this is racist talk, right? I'm not suggesting I hate anyone, okay? Again, I do not hate anybody. But we have to identify the facts. Why did people split up? Like when there was the people from Africa and there are people from Europe and the people, Middle Easterns and these different tribes that look different and act different, everything else, they would have different gods, different environments, everything else. They would fight each other in wars to take land from each other. Throughout all of history, they saw each other as different. Before, like, before anything with society engineering people's thoughts or anything like that, right? I mean, I will say, I do think that there is some amount of race war that goes on that they fuel. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Actually, on my next episode, you guys tune in. I'm actually going to be uncovering how they're infiltrating our movement, right? The America First movement. We're just kind of coming in saying, hey, we question APAC. We don't like the demographics are changing. We're not racist, but like we love ourselves. We don't want to die. They're coming into that movement and they're paying people like influencers like me. And they're saying, hey, get on there and say the N word and be very anti Semitic, like over the top every single episode and do like 10 videos a time. And they're
I didn't know
getting,
that.
yep, and they're getting paid directly from the West Bank. So the properties in the West Bank, I'm not going to talk about it too much, but there are influencers out there who are on the right who are being paid to be radical wannabe Nick Fuentes is pretty much what they are. And they're making us look bad. they're causing the moderates to go, whoa, anti-Semitism's getting out of hand. Maybe we should legislate, anti-Semitic free speech. Maybe we could regulate that. And that's what I think they're
Um,
trying to do. They're trying to make us look really bad so they can,
make us look crazy.
yeah, make us look crazy and that we're too much. And then the moderates will vote in speech regulation.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Not surprised though, to be honest. I mean, everything nowadays is very monitored and controlled. I mean, I don't I'm definitely probably on Mossad's radar by now. You probably are. I mean, the AI, I think that's really scary with how that can monitor. It could just like get a bunch of information, notice a pattern, and just kind of, make a profile on someone. They could just look up, be like, all right, this guy's blah, blah, blah. He's from here, stuff like that. I think that's very scary.
Well, yeah, and just remember, like, Palantir's really connected to Trump. Pam Bondi saying we should limit free speech. I mean, guys, the writing's on the wall. It's like, it's pretty obvious. If you look into these things, it's really obvious. And then you have Israel funneling these influencers who are making fun of Israel. Like, what? Why would Israel pay for influencers to be anti-Semitic? Like, why is that? I
Yeah,
know why.
that's weird.
They want
Yeah.
to. They want to punish it. They'll take a few losses right now, make Israel look like the bad guys. They'll take a few losses right now in order to get legislation that from 20 years from now, this won't ever happen again. No one will ever be able to
Yeah.
speak their mind again. And they already do it in different ways. Like, we know for a fact they shadow ban a lot of people in our movement. Like, no doubt about it, right? Like,
I think I'm shadow banned on X.
yeah. It's one of those things you can't talk about too much, like being shadow banned, because they're like, oh no, you just suck. You're just blaming on shadow banning. You just suck. But it's like, no, wait, no, hold on. When I posted reels when I first started, I would get like way more views. Okay. You kind of get a sense of what's going to go viral and what's not going to go viral. I don't always post to go viral. Like, sometimes I post just to keep my followers engaged. And like, I know this
Mhm.
probably will just get like 200 likes or something. I don't care. It's educational. It's a little long. People with short attention spans are going to click past it. So whatever, I still would enjoy the 200 likes. Whereas, then there's the reels that are like short and choppy and like racist or whatever, and then they're gonna go viral. And sometimes they don't. It really catches me off guard. I go, wow, I went to sleep last night. This thing had 3,000 views in like 10 minutes. And then all of a sudden I wake up the next day and I still have I have like 3,100 views. What? Like, it doesn't make sense. So, but yeah, you can't talk about it too much because I think they'll just be like, oh no, he actually just sucks. But, well, Jeb, thank you so much for being on. Is there anything else you want to say, about kind of what your plans are?
Well, I think that the goal of my generation is we gotta have the facts straight. We gotta be rational. We gotta be cordial. We gotta be intelligent in what we're saying, and we have to know what we're talking about. That's the only way that we're gonna really beat the left. We're gonna beat these globalists,
Mhm.
and we have to be true to ourselves. We cannot fall victim to lobbyist group. We cannot be bought out. Have to realize what we're protecting and what we're fighting for, and that is Western society and the things that made Western society great.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then
thank
we
you,
we need
Jeb.
to replicate. Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, we need to replicate the things that made Western society great. That's about it, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, well said. No, this guy, you think about it. Jeb, you said you're 18, right?
I'm 19.
19. 19 years old, and look how he speaks already like this. I mean, you got it, man. You got everything you need to do the job. I hope you can are you planning on starting your podcast, or what are you planning on doing?
I'm just creating content right now, trying to get my word out there, networking, obviously. I have a few more podcasts lined up, an interview next week. So I'm just seeing where this takes me. I've always been interested in politics. When I was younger, I always was like, I want to be a politician. That's what I want to do in life. But I started doing this aviation stuff. Yes, politics is my true passion. I watched so many YouTube videos on it. I've studied it my whole life. And
Interesting.
politics, history, anthropology, philosophy, they all kind of go together. You kind of got to know all of them to really understand what's going on.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's
Well,
about
man,
it.
that's excellent. I'm excited for you. I think you're going to do great.
Thank
Just
you.
keep posting online like you do. You seem to have it figured out. I mean, shoot, how many followers do you have now?
I have, let me check. I have 1,748,
Okay, great.
and that's about 1,000 since last week. So,
All right, awesome. So you're getting it figured out. Awesome. Guys, follow Jeb. Telling you this guy, he's going to go far. He speaks well. He's young. I mean, think about it. 19 years old, you speak this well. That's really good. So
thank you.
I'm glad you're on our side. I'll say that.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you, Jeb. This is the Paint the Town. Oh, we're going live tonight. Guys, we're going to go live tonight at 7 p.m. We hope you guys tune in. Jeb, you're welcome to tune in as well if you can.
Yes, sir.
We're going to be talking to some left-leaning people. Hopefully we'll get some good arguments going on. I love to argue. We are going to have a special guest, Yakub, the creator of All White People. So we got to give our respect where respect's due. and Yakub will be there. Are you familiar with Yakub?
I am familiar with YouTube, and I
Okay.
also want to say thank you for letting me come on. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Yep. Of course, anytime you want to come back, please let me know. Love hearing from, like I said, the younger people. Definitely, I'm young. I'm 27, but even younger than that, 19. Quite a bit of difference, really. I mean, think about it. What's that? 7 year difference, or yeah, 6 years, 7 year, no, 8 years. So, yep. All right, Jeb. Have a go on the Spaintown Red podcast. We hope you guys have a wonderful day. I do this when we leave. You don't have to do it,
All
but I'm
right.
doing it.
Thank you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the show.
Yeah.